Waves 3 as Imperial China. Yes, we're back. We're back at it again. And we're back at what I am now pretty much determined is the Great War. We're at war with Britain and France. We did a bit of damage to Britain's carrier fleet, and the US is keeping them at home. US tensions with France are rising, so they'll probably be at war with France soon, but not as fast as tensions are rising with Russia. So we'll have to deal with that. But if the US... So here's the thing. If the US... So Japan might be dragged into a war with Britain and France, though we'll have to see. But yeah, the US is actively being dragged into a war with... Listen, if the US can keep the British and French fleets constantly having to go home to break blockades, then I can fight the Russians in the Far East. Basically. Because the problem is, of course, we lost a lot of carriers and we only have one modern carrier left. And I've had to really press. Yeah, like we really are down carriers. It's not great. Unfortunately. But we do have modern cruisers. We do have other modern bits, bobs, and other shenanigans. So I am hopeful, just about, that we should be able to pull through. And of course, we do have our subs doing funny things, like, you know, the missile subs are doing funny things to the British. And will now do funny things to the French. And of course, in the last action we fought, our two surface combatants did just kill the last two surface combatants of France. So we will have to see. We're not going to get our first conventional supercar until the game ends. It's going to take 50 months. We've not got 50 months left in game. Which at that point does make me go, well, what's the point in building the damn thing? Can I get a light carrier that's actually worth a damn? Just to stuff full. Literally just to stuff full of... They're 3-inch auto-loading guns. We don't need twins. It needs an angled flight deck, for God's sake. What it doesn't need... Okay, we can get... Even in 32 months, that's not gonna... That's still ludicrously expensive to get. No, I'm not going to get them in time. I'm not going to... Even building destroyers is expensive now. We'll have to see how we go. No railroader. Well, what do you mean no... I mean, well, railroader is run on an ad hoc basis now. And it's not going to be streamed all... It was only streamed because it was a special thing I wanted to do. Railroaders run on an ad hoc basis, as and when I can find the time. And Tuesdays is Rule the Waves, Timu. Tuesdays is always Rule the Waves. The only reason Railroader ran was because I had a special thing to do on the Tuesday. And that happened after Rule the Waves was streamed. Right. We have assets in the area? No, thank you. I'm not Not dealing with that. That's not surprising. Yep. That's not surprising. Well, we've got one of our new cruisers in the fleet. That still doesn't really help. Still, the French have no capital ships in the south. So, our carriers are what's going to be required to face them. Our two older carriers will have to make... Actually, yeah, no, the Russians have far less in terms of carriers. So I'm going to send our older carriers to the northern fleet. Along with some of our older but still refitted destroyers. We have to have a northeastern fleet to try and deter the Russians and try and keep something pointed at the French. Don't poke the hornet's nest, Timu. A cruiser action. Okay. Well, we have a good chunk of our modern assets in theatre, so... And we do have aircraft. So... I'm going to say attack enemy ships in general, basically because I do... Given the way in which these battles usually go, I'm not going to try and force an engagement. If it'll let me not force one. On no radar contact, so basically here's what we do. We look at the CL, and we mag dump him. Yeah, basically, as soon as we get a contact, you mag dump the fucker, and then we immediately crank up to maximum speed, and we bugger off. Yeah, we mag dump, and now we bugger off. We don't wait to see what the hell happens in return. We just bugger off. This is why being able to do 35 knots matters in the modern era, so we can just go, nope, we're out of here. Wow. Okay, so the radar guided medium air guns actually did their job as Sea-Wiz. Damn. Damn. Okay. These two cruisers, just absolute heroes. Yeah, just damn. Okay, so and we did hit something with a fuck ton of missiles. We landed like 8 hits on one ship, but I don't know what we hit. Oh, poor old Hai Ching. Then again, she was one of the old emergency destroyers, so she's not exactly a huge loss to the you know, to the Imperial Chinese Navy, I'm just going to say. But we might have inflicted a loss on the French cruiser force, which is good. It's all about playing asymmetrically. Which you can do quite easily in the missile age. You dump missiles and you just fucking run. Okay, it wasn't a light cruiser, it was a destroyer. But it was a big modern destroyer that we sank. Oh, and we sank a submarine. Well, that's good. Was it, Oh, well, that's good. No, he did alright. We won. Don't sack the poor fucking sod. Like, Jesus. Okay, the US has come out with a brand new jet attack aircraft. Yes, please. Have they come out with a brand new heavy jet fighter? Yes, they have. Any new light jets from the US? Yes. Yes, there is a brand new light jet. We will have that. The US are our friends. You're my friend now. We're having soft tacos later. I think I actually need to halt construction of the carrier. Because I need to flood the seas with coastal subs. Because the Russians are right there. Convoy defense. This is a little bit concerning. Because I'm looking, and although admittedly it's well inside our air cover and outside theirs, so I am hoping that we will have air support and they will not. We hope. Although the problem with that... Okay, we have no... Okay, the enemy targeting radar is locking onto... Flippin' Nora! Can we launch? No, we have nothing to launch on. We have to close the range and hope to God that whatever it... Oh, that convoy's... Yeah, that convoy is dead. That convoy is just dead. Every single merchant ship in that convoy is... Yeah. Every single merchantman in that convoy is already dead. That's a massive missile salvo. Jesus. Although... It does mean that I can close, ID my targets, and then launch. Apparently there's an armored... Apparently the radar has identified a large target at the center of that formation. Possibly an armored cruiser. Well, we are out of range, so... Are we? Oh, no, we... Okay. Right, we're gonna mag dump some of those central targets. In particular, some of the bigger radar contacts. And then we're going to close and see what we can do. Well... Whatever they were, they took a nasty hit from our cruisers. Oh, Long Tuan, she's one of our more modern, well, no, actually, she's one of our older destroyers, but she is a very, very large gunboat destroyer. But it does appear that she's managing to fight the fires very well indeed. Although whatever we hit with missiles is... Yeah, whatever we hit with missiles is having a bad day indeed. Now, we do have 6 auto-loading guns forward, so I can come in for an attack. Oh, they have spare missiles. They have spare missiles. Okay, they have spare missiles. That is not good. That is not good. Yeah, that is actually there. Yeah, that is actually... They're very heavy crew. Yeah, no, we're out. Yeah, we are out of here. It's time to make like a tree and, let's get the fuck out of here. I don't want to be here. I don't think any of us want to be here. We're gone. We're gone ski. We are absolutely gone ski. Come on, we need more speed than what you're giving us. But what I desperately need... what I desperately need is some fucking air cover. Right now. Pretty please. Can I get some fucking air cover, please? Yeah. Like, can we scramble some fucking air cover? Thank God. Here comes the fucking cavalry. I think this may be about to turn into a Pyrrhic French victory. Because although, yes, they have succeeded in sinking two of China's more modern light missile cruisers and savaging a convoy, they're about to get hit with the full force of land-based Chinese air power. And they are too far from their air bases for escort. So, yeah. This is about to get very ugly very quickly. Yep, there it is. Yep, there it is. Yep, there are the missile. Yeah, there we go. There it is. Yep, there it is. There are the missile attacks. And these missile attacks are now going to be basically continuous throughout the day. So basically, it's like, yes, congratulations, you have in fact savaged the French Imperial Chinese convoy, and yes, you have sunk 2 of our light cruisers. But what exactly has it cost you? Yeah, this really is not a good... Yeah, this is really a bad day to be a French. Yeah, this is really a bad day to be a French. Yeah, this really is a bad day to be a French cruiser. This is just, it's not fun. That's just, ouch. That's an oof. I don't know whether or not we do night strikes or not. That's still going to be a loss, but I'm going to question how much damage we actually did. In fairness, I should have run as soon as I realized they were armored cruisers. I should have absolutely just booked it and run. As soon as I saw the missiles come in, I should have just dumped my missiles on the first contact and just run. Then let my aircraft handle the rest. But I had to try and defend the convoy. It didn't really work, though, did it? Not really. They savaged a good chunk of the convoy. And I have no idea how much damage we inflicted. Could be a lot, could be a little. I don't know. So, yeah. There we are. That was fairly brutal. Oh, okay. Yeah, technical French victory. But they did lose 2 light cruisers in the winning of it. And had one of their heavy cruisers very, very heavily damaged. One suffered medium damage. And another light cruiser, one of them very extremely modern AA cruisers, was also sunk along with a destroyer. So yes, it was a victory, but many more victories like that, and they can't really afford much more than... Oh! They're all blockaded by the USN. That's fucking hilarious. I love it. And that means that all their forces will have to go back home to try and break the blockade. Because the AI always does. Which basically means that as long as the USA is on my side, we're going to win the war. And I'm going to continue to build more coastal subs. Because they are funny. And I like them. One carrier. And that's well inside their air umbrella. No. Absolutely not. Nice. Okay. Okay. Come on, army. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Yeah, again, so the US has to... They have to pull troops away and... Then they're blockaded. Yep. We have one... We have our two older carriers in theatre. They have a carrier and... And that is near our air bases on... what's it called? Sakhalin. So... I don't know. We don't have the cruisers I would like to protect the carriers. Well, it's unexpected, so I can't really decline anyway. Suppress the enemy airfields rather than go after the enemy carriers. Well, we've got a lot of subs out, so... What have we got? Light jet fighters and torpedo bombers. Not great, but... Not terrible either. And we do have heavy surface assets to defend our carriers. So that is something. And if we can find and sink the Russian full fleet carrier, then we've definitely got a chance of winning this. We need to send out an exceptionally heavy raid. We need to hit them with everything we've got. I don't think this is going to work. We're trying to attack a force that may... What's the range? Okay. It's 200,000 yards. What is the range? What is the range to that? 200,000 yards. Oh, is that... yeah, well, that's all the information we've got so far, so... Bugger. Ah, crap. We're in trouble! Oh, they've launched it. Well, luckily we have new light jet fighters. Thank God. Still, I'm not exactly fighting with the A-team here. Compared to what I want to be fighting with. I mean... Okay, Ah, poor old Seaning, bless her. Okay, she's alright. Just okay, so as usual, when an aircraft carrier takes hits, slow the fuck down. See high-tech's missile hit, she's like, I don't give a fuck. Okay. Yeah, this is the problem, jet attackers. Yeah. Now, luckily... It does seem as though getting more cap up is actually... Also, they do seem to have committed a lot of their light jet fighters to the strike. So I'm hopeful... I think we're going to lose Beaning. That's 4 light missile hits. That is, And Seaning's also falling quickly. Okay, so our aircraft have encountered the enemy. Okay, okay. Fuck me, the old prop planes might have actually pulled it off. Fucking hell! Go, my old prop planey boys! Fucking hell! Fucking you beauties! Anchors away indeed, Januska. Anchors away. Go, my old prop planey boys! You fucking beauties! You old prop plane using legends! Fucking beautiful! Never doubt them again. Yeah, Beaning's a lost cause. Yeah, the only thing we can do now is retire. Yep, that's our 2 carriers lost. Yeah, that's... Yeah. Yeah, that's painful. That's painful. Okay, first battle div. Yeah, we're getting out of here. Set speed to 28 knots. We're out of here. We're gone. We are fucking gone. We're gone. We're out of here. You do realize you are attacking 2 of the most powerful battleships in the fleet, right? And the 2 ships that are least likely to not give a flying fuck if you shoot missiles at them. Right? You do know this. Oh, no. Please do not be slowing up. Okay, she's slowing up because of flooding. That's fine. That's fine. You're allowed to slow up because of flooding. That's fine. Just don't. Oh, she's gonna die. Come on. Come on, Sea High. I believe in you. And I couldn't even deny this battle. We were doing so well. And we had a fleet in being. Why were we at sea? Why were we at sea? We were doing so well. No, no, no. I'm not going to lose the old war horses. Not now. Not now. I refuse. I refuse to lose the old war horses. No, I'm not having it. I'm not having it. No. I refuse. I refuse. They are gonna get home. They are gonna get home. Get me land-based air cover, goddammit. Or get me night. Get me something. Come on, you old bastard. The Russians couldn't kill you the last time they tried. They're not going to kill you now. Come on! Don't let them kill you now. Come on, you old Chinese bastard. They didn't kill you before. Don't let them kill you now. Come on! Come on. Come on, limp her into port. Come on. No! She was within sight of the port. She was so close. No, damn it! No, you bastards! The only reason this battle took place is because I had no choice but to fucking fight it. I didn't want to fucking fight that battle. I didn't have the forces I wanted. So, yes, I do blame the fucking game for this. I'm not fucking firing her for that. Okay, so we defeated Britain. Fantastic. I'm just going to accept a small increase to my GDP. Okay, fantastic. That's good. So a general peace. So I want... I want Kamchatka. I want... Yeah, oh, I can't get the Lantern Peninsula. That's bloody annoying. I can't get Tonking. I can't get Tanan. Can't get Java. Can't get Sumatra. Oh, fuck. I can't get anything that I want. I guess I'll have an increase to my GDP instead. Well, on the plus side, we won what was the Great War. On the downside, we did so at the cost of most of the Chinese carrier arm and most of the modern aircraft in the Chinese carrier fleet. So, yeah, that was not good. That was horrifically brutal. Yeah, that was rough. That was very, very rough. Luckily, the blockade forced the British to collapse. Although I wish I wish we could have avoided losing our heavy service combatants and, 2 of our carriers. Before that, but hey-ho. And the US basically had to remove the security arrangement, which is flipping annoying. No, we are not overthrowing the Dowager Empress. It ain't happening. Jesus, that was rough. I suppose the only ship I can finish is... well, I'm not gonna finish it, but I can keep building it, is the carrier. Well, that's good. We've got a boost to our money that way, although I'm probably going to try and finish the battleship, since I might be able to actually finish the battleship before the game ends. But we shall see. No, we are not overthrowing the Dowager Empress. We don't have a battleship, so we'll have to just send one of the gold gunboats. Even with all of our construction halted, our funding is just completely gone. Unless tension rises somewhere. No, you're not getting money for your strategic bombers. The only reason... Well, okay, now the Langton Peninsula has become independent again, so that fucking went nowhere. Had the territory for like 5 fucking seconds, then it went away again. Yeah. Yeah, this is a very ignominious way to end a campaign. No, we are not agreeing to any bloody naval treaties. You can all do one. Just no, absolutely not. It would have been nice to have that earlier. Yeah, I'm not going to get to finish my battleships this game. The final generation of Chinese battleships that I was going to finish before the end of the game are just not going to get finished. Yeah, yeah, that's where we are. With... Nope. Not overthrowing the Dowager Empress. Not doing it. Not doing it. I blame France. Okay, you want 9 additional submarines, sir. By golly, by jingo, you will have 9 additional submarines of a small coastal type. And the rest of them I'm going to use to try and finish the bloody battleship. Please, let me finish the battleship. Just, I want it. Jesus Christ, this is... Is this what it's come to? I don't know. What a way to end a game. Hooray, we built the expected number of submarines. Very good. You will give up my citizens. Yes. We have... Way, very nice. We have abolished rebellion in China. We're getting very good at it. Okay. Sorry, Empress, but... I didn't save your bacon all those times for you to then try and play politics with me. No, we're not agreeing to any tension limits. I don't think so. And squeezing in right at the end of the game is Ting Yuan, the most powerful capital ship China has built in the entire game. And the first homegrown Chinese capital ship that we've had since the 1930s, if you can believe it. She's been a long time coming, but she's in service now, and given the fact that there were surface actions during the last war, her presence is very good indeed. She'll no doubt be a heavy escort for the last remaining Chinese carriers. Speaking of, what could have been? If only I'd got them earlier, but alas. We'll send them around the world on Ting Yuan. It's a very fitting way to end off the campaign. And she's finished working up after her round-the-world cruise. What a lovely way to end off. And what I will do is we'll just work up a slightly revised design. For the Shantung. And literally, before we end the campaign, just to set the Chinese Navy up for a hypothetical future admiral to take over, we'll lay down 2 additional supercarriers, as that will see the Imperial Chinese Navy into a new era. And with that, the game's over. That was, ladies and gentlemen, the Imperial Chinese Navy from 1890 to 1970. That was 80 years of development. And what an 80 years it was. It's seen us through an actual change of year in the real world as well. Which is, well, it's really shocking when you think about it. Give me just 1 second and then we'll go through the entire history of the campaign. Well, folks, that is the end of the game. That is it. So let's have a look. So, starting in 1890, we had the battle with Japan, which, even though we technically seemed to win all the battles, we technically lost. Then we had the Second War with Japan, which we won, and won most of the battles in that. The Third War, which they won, which, you remember, I paid attention to end after I lost some of the dreadnoughts. Then we had a war with Russia, which we won. Then we had the short, sharp war with Japan, which was really rough. Then a second war with Russia, which we won. Then we had a short war with Russia, which was indecisive. Then we had the war with France, which was short and we lost. Then we had the Great War, which we won. And then that's the end of the game. If we look at fleet tonnage, Imperial China and Imperial Japan have been, for most of their existence, competing with each other. And there was a point where we did actually surpass Imperial Japan for most of the early Dreadnought period. And then, of course, we continued our meteoric rise up until about 1940, when Japan fought a war to knock us back down, and then they stayed ahead until the end of the game. Although, as you can see, during the wars with Russia, we knocked off a sizable portion of Russia's fleet every time we fought them. Very much so indeed. Although the last war cost us most of our fleet, unfortunately. In terms of economic strength, we were consistently better after the first period than Japan. And we maintained, basically, after we beat them hard in the early game, we overtook the Japanese in terms of economic strength, and we stayed there for the rest of the game, but we could never quite leverage it to build a fleet. If we look at our losses, the French are actually equal to us lost in BBs, but we lost the most battle cruisers out of anybody. The Russians lost the most battleships, dreadnought battleships, that is 9. The Japanese lost the most pre-dreadnought, 16. We easily lost the most carriers, but didn't lose any of our light carriers, only scrapped ours. And yeah, cruisers and destroyers got absolutely beat up in this game. They really did. Yep, and of course, one of the new carriers will probably be named after me. So, in terms of the games that we finished, that is definitely up there. So yeah, that was the Imperial Chinese playthrough of Rule the Waves. Before we go, though, let's actually go through and look at some of our older ships, shall we? So, let's start with a class of battleships that we started with, that saw us through the first couple of wars, since they were around for both of the first 2 wars with Japan. And of course our armoured cruisers that also fought through those wars, including some of the ones that survived to much later periods, although some of them were sunk. Although a lot of ships were lost in the early war, sadly. And these were ships we actually bought from Russia, if you can believe it. And they served very well indeed. And some of our early cruisers as well. Some of our first ships we actually built ourselves. Well, not built ourselves, sorry. That we had built for us. Yes, the Xinings, that would then later give her name to some of the ships that would come after. And then, of course, these were the first battleships I believe we built ourselves. Most of our pre-dreadnoughts actually survived to be scrapped, now that I think about it. Then some of our cruisers, and some of the ships we got from overseas. Oh yeah, we built a fleet of armed merchant cruisers to just blockade Japan into submission. Then we built an upgraded version of a previous design that died in 1917 in a battle with the French, which is interesting. And then there was another one. She also died in 1917. Then we had, these ones were the follow-ons to those. They all died in 1917. I forget what battle that was. Well, I'll have to go back and rewatch the campaign, won't I? Hi, Halfman. You join us right as the campaign's winding down. We have finished the game. Fu Hixing. She was supposed to be the next generation of armoured cruisers, but she was broken up on the slipway. They never actually finished. Chiang was actually the next generation of armoured cruiser, but she actually was lost because she was blown up. And that was, I believe, the actual catalyst for the start of the conflict. Then we get to a lot of ships that lasted a hell of a lot longer. Destroyers being exceptionally long-lived in my service, as you will all remember from the various campaigns. Feels bad, but yeah, we had a good run. The last war, we actually won, but we lost a lot of ships in the winning of it. Sadly. Yes, I remember the Pan Chaos. The Pan Chaos were China's first proper pre-dreadnought battleships. And they were commissioned across 1906 and 1907. And some of them were actually lost in the First War with Japan, and the rest were lost in a second war with Japan as well. But they were the first proper Chinese dreadnoughts, and pre-dreadnoughts, and they were the first ships actually we built at home. I believe, fully at home. And then, of course, the Zhou First Class, the Chinese home-built dreadnought battleships that were much superior to their Japanese contemporaries, and such the Japanese had to surprise attack us. Her sister lasted far longer than she did. I believe she had a half-sister, actually. Yeah. Oh, yeah, no. Oh, yeah. No wonder we can't actually find her sister, because her sister was turned over to the Japanese. And I believe, if we look at their lists... Yep. We'll find that she was scrapped. Doesn't say when, though. Doesn't say when she was actually scrapped. So I have no idea how long they kept her for. Our first battle cruisers. Well, first battle cruiser, Chen Hang. She lasted a good 11 years, but then she was sunk by the Russians. Our first carrier was, funnily enough, Xining. Of course, she was commissioned as the Saratoga before she came into Chinese service, and she was sunk in actually the last battle of the Great War off Sakhalin. So, Fu Sheng was the other Shen Hang. She was converted into a carrier. And she lasted up until about... Wait, she was scrapped? Wow, I scrapped her. Oh, that's right, she couldn't actually be upgraded to take modern aircraft without really the cost being ludicrous. Yeah, so I scrapped her in 1953. Yeah, that's why I remember I did that, yeah. And then we had the Qi Guang class. Ironically, the only Chinese battleships to survive to be scrapped in totality, with both ships of the class surviving to be scrapped in 1948. And I mean, they're histories. They really had some history. Like, they really, really did. And, of course, the Dihua class battleships, including the old warhorse of the Chinese Navy, Kangding and Dihua. Now, these two ships, Kangding didn't have that long of a career. She was commissioned in 1924 and was sunk off North Korea in 1928. But Dihua, she was, for many years, the old battleship warhorse of the Chinese Navy. I mean, look at this. Her gunnery was impeccable. 37 main battery hits in a battle in 1927. 56 main battery hits and suffering heavy damage in the Battle of Korean Bay in 1928. And in February 1929, she took part in the heroic action that basically won us that war when the Chinese fleet engaged the recently arrived German Imperial fleet. And if you remember, we just about managed to win. But of course, she couldn't really survive contact with the modern era, and she was sunk in the Battle of Jeju when the Japanese showed up with their modern carriers, sadly. And of course, we had our tranches of modern cruisers through the years. We didn't actually get into the modern cruiser game until the 20s, actually. We were reliant on our Chow Yun class cruisers for the most part. But our first modern cruisers that we actually built were the Lai Wen class. Taking advantage of steam turbines and oil firing, 30-knot cruisers. Built a lot of them, though. Of course, Li Ning converted from the battle cruiser Lexington. But our first carriers were actually domestic. The domestic light carriers of the Tian Chushan class. She actually survived to be scrapped. And, well, actually, all of them survived to be scrapped, if I remember correctly. Yeah. The old war horses. The Sea High class. Now, these girls saw some action. Wei Qing was alright. She did fairly well. But Sea High... She was commissioned in 1928 and she lasted until 1959 and she had to be killed by a far more modern battleship. Good lord. Then more carriers. And of course we brought in some other cruisers as well to bulk up our numbers. And then we started the Hai Chen line of cruisers, which led through Hai Chen. Oh, then of course Sea Hai, the ship that we bought later on that served us so well in the war we just fought. She started out as the battlecruiser North Dakota. And of course, Keening was the carrier Shikaku. Our first purpose-built carriers were sadly broken up on the slips as a result of the war we lost against the Japanese. These were the ships that were supposed to be the arbiter of a new age in Chinese exceptionalism and basically kind of derailed the campaign, forcing us into an era of recovery that we never quite recovered from. Until we actually built the Fuji Hen class carriers, and, well, even then they still didn't quite let us do what we needed to do. But no history of the Chinese Navy would be complete without the mention of Kang Ding. Kang Ding was commissioned in 1934, and she lasted through to 1966, being sunk in the last battle of the last war we fought. She was the best battleship we ever possessed. And unfortunately, it's a pity she didn't survive to the end of the campaign to see what exactly succeeded her. And as for the rest of it, was missile subs and destroyers. For the most part. But yeah. There we are. And to look at what we've got in service. Ting Yuen commissioned just before the game ended. The largest and most powerful service combatant that we ever built. Unfortunately, no one to fight her. One of the last of the Fuji Hens, she survived to game end, and is the core of the Chinese carrier fleet. At least for now, she's the only carrier left. We are building 3 super carriers. But that is for another admiral to take over. Because we are done. I'm sorry for those of you just arriving. But that is unfortunately where we are. Now, of course, as you all know, a while ago, when I didn't think this campaign was going to run this long, a poll went out asking the audience what they wanted. And the choice was overwhelming. So, tune in next week when Fleet begins the French campaign. Take care, everyone, and I'll catch you all next time. Bye-bye!